Yes, willing before ready. 50%. If you're 50%, don't worry about it because the other 50 will come. As women, we tend to do that. It's I don't have all the background or the education or the experience, or you need to be able to know how to do something before you're going to jump right in. I feel like that's a hindrance. That 50% rule is something that I just really captured and like to live by.
Welcome back to another edition of the Mission Secure podcast. My name is Melanie Padron, and today I'm joined by the wonderful and lovely KJ Swaggert. Katie, is your name Katie Jo?
It is,
Okay.
yes.
So
Yeah.
I love this because my little sister, who's 14 years younger to me, one of my favorite people on the planet, her name is Nikki Jo. And so when I saw your name, I was like, oh gosh, I love that. I connected with you on LinkedIn through our mutual friend, Danielle Spinelli.
Oh, she's the best.
Who is also wonderful. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I saw a podcast that you guys did and some posts that you guys had together. I was like, I have got to meet this woman.
It's so kind. Thank you.
You guys are doing what I want to do and you're being who I want to be. You're out there in what's traditionally been a kind of a male-dominated industry. And you've just created this kind of cool girl gang, this nice girls gang where women are supporting women and we're building each other up and we're linking arms and doing some really cool things in the industry. And I was so drawn to that. Just your energy and your vibe. And I was like, I've got to meet her. I had Danielle on my podcast not too long ago. And
I did not know that. That's great.
Yep. I think her episode is probably premiering next week. I believe Buddy is saying yes. So yeah, her podcast premieres next week. And so, I created a movement and a summit, a first annual summit called She Leads Securely. And so this episode of Mission Secure is a special She Leads Securely edition. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because you are doing exactly what She Leads Securely is all about. Being bold. We've talked about this a little bit. Being bold, being willing before ready. I heard you say that.
Yes.
Did you say that?
Yes, willing before ready. 50%. If you're 50%, don't worry about it because the other 50 will come. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got from one of my first leaders, female leaders in logistics, actually. So it's that 50% rule, right?
That's fantastic.
Don't have to wait till you have everything. And I think as women, we tend to do that. It's I don't have all the background or the education or the experience, or you need to be able to know how to do something before you're going to jump right in. I feel like that's a hindrance sometimes that females have faced. And that 50% rule is something that I just really captured and like to live by and speak to. So, yeah.
I love the 50% rule because you have to be willing to be a little vulnerable. Yes. Be willing to be seen, learning sometimes, not doing things perfectly, kind of just embracing the fact that we are people. We are not perfect. And I like to use the phrase perfectly imperfect. And I think all of us, but as humans, but especially women, we don't relate to real. We relate to people. And so just when you and Danielle were talking about that, it so resonated with me. And I knew I wanted to have you on the show.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So with that, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and about ProShip?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I have two first names. This is the joke I make every time. So I will probably introduce myself the same way at every show and in every podcast. Supply chain and logistics is all about an acronym. We use acronyms for pretty much everything. You need a novel to just get through what things mean. So going by KJ, I've done it since my college days. For Katie Jo, it's just that much easier. And everything's an acronym in our industry anyway, and in the industry I live in anyway. So it just works out perfectly. I have been in the industry since, 2014, in a few different roles with national carriers and some retail logistics roles. I was with the 4PL more recently, and just this February of this year, I transitioned over as head of alliances for ProShip. ProShip is a multi-carrier shipping software, awesome technology company that is based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I have the privilege of being remote, working from home in central Minnesota. Do go to the office when I can. I'll be there in a few weeks and I'm really excited. But a lot of my role is also being one of the faces of the brand and being visible at shows and trade shows and all of those great things. So we definitely have a heavy trade show season. For anyone that follows me on LinkedIn or that's connected with me on LinkedIn this year, April and May, I did something that we called the KJ Coast to Coast Tour. And
Oh, I love that.
it was just an update on where the heck I was that week and which show I was at and the people I was with. And it was great. Danielle, our mutual friend, Danielle Spinelli, does such a nice job with, taking people and visiting people as she travels. And she's at a lot of shows as well. So I definitely like to pick up tips from the best. And it was really fun to be able to showcase what I was doing for those 2 months and who we were collaborating with, and just to get the ProShip name, continue to have it be a positive experience and positive connotations. And so, yeah, so I've been there since February as head of alliances, and it has been a journey. It's been a journey, a small company. The people are absolutely incredible. The tech is absolutely incredible, but it's a learning curve nonetheless. And I think, we speak to that. I jumped in. I've been in the parcel space for a very long time, in the small package space. This role, they molded a little bit more for me and my personality, which continues to be humbling when they had, asked me if I would consider a conversation and to come on board. But it's every day's a learning, and that's okay. So we're getting there. It's great.
That's exciting. It's funny that you talk about the acronyms in logistics, because I'm in the cybersecurity world and we specialize in serving trucking and logistics company. And the acronyms on the cybersecurity side are just as wild. I'm like, wait a minute, I need a little dictionary or something, get me up and running with all these
Yeah.
acronyms. It's pretty funny. And I love that you do the coast to coast trade show tour, because
Mhm.
I'm coming up on my conference season. I'm doing four
Okay.
four shows in 5 weeks,
Yeah.
and I'm calling it like my world tour. I've got to come up with a catchy name, but I'm about to start announcing my world tour. I'm on the 60-day countdown, so I feel like I'm almost like an athlete training, because I'll be speaking at these 4 conferences and I'm like, I've got to get my memorization down and my slides and
Yes.
I got to know my
Yes.
content. And yeah, so that's so funny. I love coast to coast because it's the first time I'm actually going to be coast to coast from California to Ohio. I'm
Well,
literally
there you go.
spanning the nation. And so
Yeah.
that's such a cute name. I love that. Um,
The thing we didn't do, I have to say, maybe
yeah.
you could add it to your tour. And a
Okay.
friend of mine at work named Dan said we should make t-shirts. Like, we should literally all have t-shirts with your face on them, KJ, and on the back, it's where you're going to be. So we did not get a chance to do that this year, but maybe that's something you could do for your tour
I love
as an
that
idea. So
idea.
there you
I love that. Like Danielle has her kind
go.
of
Like a rock star.
her cartoon alter ego, fraud girl that,
Yeah.
she uses.
Yeah.
I love that. So I am the legacy defender. So I also have kind of a cartoon alter ego
I
that's
like that.
the
Awesome.
legacy defender, because I'm protecting
Perfect.
businesses, and people
Yes.
work so hard to build these businesses, and it's a legacy that cyber
Yes.
criminals are, attacking. And so I call myself the legacy defender. I might have to do a little t-shirt. I love that idea. Great
There you
one.
go. Perfect. You can take it for your tour. Awesome.
I
I'll
love
buy
that.
one. I'll
Okay,
take one.
okay. I'll send you one.
Okay.
Okay, so help me understand,
Yeah.
ProShip it's a parcel shipping software, and you kind of well,
Correct.
first of all, you guys are trusted by some major brands. I was doing my research. Who are
Absolutely.
your top
Yep.
brands? Companies that stood out to me were Macy's and Ulta
Mhm.
Beauty, and tell me about that. That's
Well, it's
pretty
like the
exciting.
places we like to shop. So
Yes, absolutely.
it's great. So really where our bread and butter is going to be carrier diversification. So having the options for multiple carriers within your software and also being able to rate shop between them. So depending on where your package needs to go, what's going to be that best rate, who's going to be that best carrier to get it there, with the lowest cost. And that is truly our bread and butter. That's really what ProShip was developed to do. It's going to be an enterprise level solution, trusted, like you said, by a lot of those top brands. We do have our WorldLink, Varsity. We do have companies that are sister companies of ours that are similar to ProShip in terms of an execution software, but that serve a different ICP, a different ideal customer profile. So they're going to fall within like that small to medium sized business, smaller size medium-sized businesses or even, startups, we can support. So, but from a ProShip perspective, we're going to be enterprise, higher level, and that's our sweet spot, is that rate shopping.
So you sit between the shipper and the carrier. You're the vendor in between.
Yeah, so think about it like we're going to slide right into that tech stack. So when when that shipment information comes in, ProShip is going to, in milliseconds, rate it for you and then send the information out for the label to be spit out. So I like to say, I just about guarantee anyone that's listening or everyone on here has had something delivered to their house where ProShip was the technology that printed that label,
Very,
which
very
is
cool.
which is really cool to me. So yeah,
It is
I
to
love
me
that.
too. Yeah, we talk in cybersecurity. One of the biggest issues facing our industries is vendor compromise, and so in a little while, I want to dive into
Mm-hmm.
that a little bit with you because we're all part of the supply chain, and you and I have talked offline just a little bit about the weakest link in the supply chain is that's where criminals can take advantage of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what does a day in your life look like? So, you are the
That's
head
a
of
great question.
alliances. So,
Yeah.
when you're at ProShip, first of all, congratulations on
Mhm.
making the move. That sounds like that was a
Thank
really
you.
great career opportunity for you. I'd love to hear that. But
Yeah.
what does a day in your life look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think right now we're in a little bit of a dip within show season. So we'll have a large group that'll go to Parcel Forum in Orlando mid-September this year.
Ooh, that's a fun location.
Otherwise, yeah, like little Disney. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what we're able to do. But when we're talking about, my role day to day in the home office, it really depends. A lot of what I do in my role is relationship management between our higher level partners. So as head of alliances, working on and directly with our higher level technology partners, our more larger carrier partners, as well as co-referral partners. So really just managing that ecosystem and making sure that we have the right partners in place. Everyone has the right education. We keep each other top of mind. We know when to make the recommendations. I was brought on board really. One of the things I love about ProShip and our leadership is they recognize the need for change, or the need for, hey, we just need something a little different, but we're not really quite sure how to get there. Who's someone from the outside that can come in and put a different level of breadth of experience or sophistication? I like to say, like one of our VP of sales likes to say, sophistication to things, and I love that. So put a different, ideas or different processes in place to see this be more successful than it has been in the past, to be quite honest. So coming on board with my background, my personality, and I have an education background as well. That's something that's really, really important to me, is education. No matter what industry you're in, no matter how old you are, I'm such an advocate for education and training and lifelong learning, continuous learning. So it's really just that. It's every day working with, if I have calls with partners, it's where are we at in the journey? So we developed an entire partnership journey. Where do we fall within that journey in terms of, are we educated? Does our team know what you do? Do you know what we do? Do we have the right cadences and communication structures in place? We have an amazing marketing team. I would say at ProShip, it's one of the best marketing groups I've ever worked for or worked with. And we put together a whole go-to-marketing plan, and, the visibility and the co-marketing strategies around webinars and shows, and happy hours. I mean, stuff that's fun like that, right?
Yeah.
So my role just really gets to be the liaison between how we make this partnership ecosystem work. How do we help each other be profitable? I mean, because we're businesses at the end of the day, we need to be making money.
Amen.
And how do we get there? And we get there through visibility and go-to-market strategies and education at the end of the day. So yeah, my days fall around the journey and where I'm at in the journey and who needs what in terms of their steps and processes. But yeah, it's been fun because we've developed a lot of it, not necessarily from the ground up, but when I came on board, I've been able to put a lot of ideas in place, a lot of things in place. We had a really heavy show season. I'd only been here for a few months, and then it was the KJ Coast to Coast tour for 2 months. So now we're seeing a lot of these ideas come to fruition, and a lot of these higher level ideas get more processes in place. And to use Tony's words, get a little bit more sophisticated. So we're starting to see the results of the things that we've been putting on paper. which is fun.
I love that. Being in person with people, the ideas that are generated from that are it's just there's no replacement for that. And it sounds like your
Agreed.
job is so fun. The people, I love that you love your people because I think they can
Oh,
absolutely make
they're
or
the best.
break. Yeah, make or
Yeah.
break your job. So I love hearing that. While you're in Orlando, something else we have in common, we're both boy moms. I have three.
Yes.
You have a couple.
Yes.
I know
3.
that.
We
Are
have
you
2. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit one step ahead of you. Mine are 21, 18, and 16. So just
Okay.
kind
Yeah.
of more young adults and young men right now than
Great
anything.
ages, though.
Yeah.
Oh
Will
my gosh.
will you
So fun.
have any time with them in Orlando? Any fun activities planned?
No, they will actually be in school. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's mid-September and it's during the week. And so I have a going into high school, so a 15, almost 15. Oh my gosh, almost 15-year-old, I should say. He's working on his driver's ed as we speak.
Same.
So that's
Same here.
little crazy.
Yes.
It's really cool though. We have a wedding in August, and my husband and I were joking that maybe he'll be ready to drive us like home in August from the wedding. So we'll see. But we have a goal in place. So one going into ninth grade, 15-year-old, and then our 12-year-old. So we're a big sports family. We are very, very active in coaching and in playing. And my boys will both be in school soccer, fall soccer, pardon me, and then high school football. So as much as I'd love to have them come down and do things, it is like smack dab in the middle of the start of school and sports season. And my 15, almost 15-year-old will not miss anything. And I appreciate that about him. He is a dedicated kid. He is
Yeah.
does not want to miss a darn thing. Even if he has a sprained ankle, he will get right back out there. So yeah, he's pretty dedicated, but
I
which
think
is a great thing.
you've hit on so much. So I think as women, this she leads securely,
Mm-hmm.
talks about women leaders, and sometimes I feel like we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We nurture the world. You mentioned
Absolutely.
teaching. We teach the world.
Mm-hmm.
We work our jobs. We raise our families, and I just think you're doing it with such grace. I love watching your posts on
Oh, I feel like mine.
Instagram because they
Yeah.
you're absolutely a very competent businesswoman, but I also see you managing, your family and life, and you always have something really insightful to say on how that links back to business. Your personal,
That's great
stories
feedback.
always link. Yeah, they do. There's always
Mhm.
a tie back to business. That's something I strive to do myself. Are you by chance the parent taught instructor on your son's driver's ed?
No.
I am. I am the
No,
parent-led
how's that?
instructor. It is wild. It's a lot of responsibility. It may be one of the biggest responsibilities that I hold.
I
Um,
can't imagine. Yeah.
yeah, it's kinda crazy. Okay, let's talk for a minute about,
Yeah.
being women, nurturing the world, leading our teams, feeling like how do you what are your tricks? What is your advice for other women that are literally trying to do it all? Because I don't think we have to choose between being business women and being family women.
Absolutely
I think that
not.
today we can do it all,
Mhm.
especially if we empower I really work on empowering my team not to need me. I don't want to be the bottleneck. I don't
Yeah,
always want to be the final decision maker. I want to create a team that can operate without me and function without, me being the
100%.
final word on it. So what are some tips that you would have for other women leaders?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great question. You said one of my favorite things, which is empowerment. And I think when you think about life and the balance, and sometimes it isn't a balance, sometimes you're 70-30 when it comes to your personal life and your work life. Sometimes you're 50-50. Sometimes you're 90-10. It just depends on the season. I do think empowering not only those that work for you or that you work with, but those in your personal life that are around you. We find that with our boys as they've gotten older, just really empowering them to take ownership in our house, right? Take ownership in their activities, take ownership in their schedule, to give them again that just that empowerment to lead their lives that way and to know what's going on and to run their lives. Not having to count on us all the time for here's what's coming up, here's this, here's this. I also think for me, in terms of the balance, and other advice I give people is hold people accountable, but have expectations. I had expectations when we decided to get married and we decided to have a family. We had expectations on how our family was going to work and how we were going to be as partners. And I will say that my husband is a teacher. He's a coach. He's really so talented at what he does and really inspirational. And the reason why I'm able to do what I do in this corporate world and he's able to do what he does is because of our true partnership and expectations of each other. So having that true partner 50-50, and sometimes again, it's 70-30. I'm on my coast to coast tour and I'm gone for 12 days and
Right.
they're home with dad. And I also love what that shows my boys is that it is a true partnership. And, you know, you're going to be fed when mom's gone. Cause let's be honest, I'm not the cook. So like when the husband's gone, the boys make a lot of jokes. Thank gosh we have DoorDash and Domino's and all the things. Otherwise they wouldn't get fed. Right. So it's really just, for me, it's the empowerment. It's the holding people, the expectations. We'll stick on the E theme, right?
Okay.
Empowering people, having expectations. And then the other advice I give people, we'll do three things, is education. I am, again, such a proponent for what does education look like for you and being passionate about being a lifelong learner and grower. And it might just be taking 10 minutes and you're reading some kind of book every day, right? It might just be reflection and meditation for 10 minutes. It might be learning that new skill and you work on that 18 minutes a day or something like that. There's all these statistics out there on how to become masterful in something. And it takes 18 minutes a day of repeated efforts. Something I teach my soccer kids or the kids that I coach as well. So I would say, empowering, expectation, education, and molding those three to work in your life and how it looks for you. Those are the big in my life and things that I like to teach anyone, not even just female leaders. I mean, really anybody.
Right. I was a corporate trainer for 10 years in my previous career. I was in insurance for, 24 years. And so I very much resonate. And that's something else we have in common. I resonate with the education. And it's one of the reasons why I love speaking at conferences because it is my opportunity to educate and give back. At the end of the day, I'm speaking to convert.
Absolutely.
I'm speaking to meet new leads. I'm speaking to protect businesses. But the education part of it is so natural for me. And I love to serve. And I think that's just a really great way to give back to the industry, to elevate the industry. There's another E word. Let's elevate. And when it comes, yes. And when it comes to the boys, ultimately I'm teaching them to live a life without me and to not need me. And I will be darned at 21 and 18 if they really don't need their mama that much anymore. And it's so bittersweet. It makes me super proud. And like, I know I'm doing my job and I want to do the same thing with my team. Like right now, I'm like, today I'm in the podcast studio. I'm here, all morning. I need you to, execute. Here's another, we're on an E theme today. I need you to execute. I need you to,
I really like
I know I do too. We need to make a list here, don't we? But, they need to be making the post and getting the social media out and creating the marketing campaigns. And like, it's got to continue even when I'm not there. So I know that you're a coach to your boys, correct? Like you're coaching in a boys league, but you're also a woman leader in logistics, which is traditionally been a little bit more male dominated, kind of like cybersecurity. I do think we are changing the tide on that. But, did you always know you would end up in tech and logistics, or did life just take you here? Like, how did you get into this?
That's such a good question. I laugh because, and I love this question when people ask me.
Yeah.
No, I had no idea what even existed out there. And I feel like that's part of it as well, unless you grew up in the industry or you were exposed to it, maybe by a parent or someone close to your family when you were younger who was in the industry. I had no idea. I live in central Minnesota. I'm born and raised. I'm right outside of Minneapolis. I'm Minnesota born and bred. And I did go to school in another state, but ended up coming back. And my first big kid job ever after school was being a classroom teacher. So I was an elementary teacher and a science teacher for 3 years, realized that was not my jam. Loved my kids, loved my parents. It's actually weird now because a lot of them are in their mid-20s now. It's kind of scary. But come back to our town and we'll see them. And I still see a lot of the kids I had and know them well and their families. And so it's always really touching to see them. Or they connect with me on LinkedIn and they're like professionals out in the world and it's crazy. to see that.
Oh,
But that's
time is a
life.
thief, let me tell you,
It
time is a
is.
thief.
I know the days are long and the years are fast, or however
Yes.
they say that. But yeah, so when I realized I just wanted to do something different, my skill set was more gearing towards just having that interest in like technology and processes and training adults. I found a lot more joy in doing that when I was teaching. And so we just with our family having really young kids and with my husband's path in education here, we decided to stay in this area. And then my whole thing about experience and education was, okay, if I know I want to do something in business someday, or let's just try some things and see where my skills are going to take me, or let's see what I like, and we'll try a bunch of stuff. So I was able to get a few different things, of a few different experiences around like consultation and retail leadership and marketing leadership, sales. And eventually someone had seen me live working with the team that I was managing and had made the suggestion that I take a look at a job with a national carrier. And I was very confused. I'm like, do you want me to drive? I don't know what you're talking about. And that opened up that, having that relationship locally opened up this whole world of, hey, these carriers have this whole business unit, business development unit that's part of their division. And I had no idea. And I did not have the background. I did not have the necessary education. Back then, I'm gonna date myself now, but back then the job was posted in our local paper.
Yeah.
You can see it online too, right? And all the things, but there was a lot of prerequisites, excuse me. And I did not necessarily have the required prerequisites that they wanted for the role in terms of a degree
Mhm.
and years of experience in business. I knew that I could learn. I know that I'm coachable. I've gotten a lot of different experience managing P&Ls and sales and marketing. And so what I did, and I share this also with our mutual friend, is I actually wrote a letter, much like when you buy a house and it's like, please consider me for buying this house. And this
Oh.
is house. I wrote a letter, kind of a cover letter, but I wanted to make it different. And I
Mhm.
said, here's why hiring like an ex-educator who has this experience, this is why this will translate. And this is why someone like me will thrive in this role. And I did not even think I would get an interview. There were a lot of people applying for that, but ended up getting an interview and a panel interview. And one of the people that saw potential in me after the interview that fought to hire me, because I came from the outside to this national carrier, and that was not
Mhm.
common. They do a lot of internal hiring, which I think is a great thing. Again, they were looking for someone different in this area, and so she fought to have me on board, and she was my first really kind of big female leader in logistics. She was one of the first
Oh.
diverse female leaders for this national carrier in the Northern Plains district, and one of my absolute heroes to this day. She is just incredible advocate and just like a consultant, right, and a confidant and a friend, and she's wonderful, and I just look up to her so much still. So that was my real first taste, and then the whole world opens up then, and you're like, what is this logistics and supply chain and all of the avenues that you can take within this industry? To your point with security, fraud, tech. So then I was able to get exposed to a lot of different things, held a lot of different roles and leadership roles, and I just really, really like parcel. I really like this whole small package industry. It's a small world. As much as
Yes.
we think it's vast, it is really vast, but it is pretty small in technology. So being able to have kind of like two loves in the role that I do now is great. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that person that took a chance on me in
Mhm.
2013, 2014, and I didn't have the background. And then all of the exposure and experience I was able to get from that role to this role did nothing but help me prepare 50%, but the other 50% will come. So
God, you
yeah,
said
it was a great
so many great things right there, and you overcame so much because you were willing to be bold, because you were willing
Mhm.
to differentiate yourself and write that letter and be personable, which is authentic and authenticity. I know that's a big thing with you as well. And it just
Yeah.
lends itself so well to the whole She Leads Securely theme because you were willing to do something new before you were 100% ready. You mentioned
Absolutely.
50-50. You were willing to learn. You had a coachable spirit and attitude, and you put yourself out there and look at where you are now. I just like kudos to you. Like congratulations, because I love that. What a
Thank you.
success story. I absolutely love that. You know, you'll never know unless you ask, and you'll never hit that ball
Yeah.
unless you got to swing, and
Yeah.
you got to try. And what a great example of that you are. I love so much of that.
You said this, and I love this, and I'm sorry I have to interrupt you
Okay.
because I don't even know if I mentioned this on the other podcast, but those who ask. And so one of the male trainers at the national carrier I worked for, who's one of my favorite guys ever too, and a corporate trainer, we learned from him, those who ask for more get more.
That's
And I
right.
love that. And that is something where, you can translate that into all areas of your life, right? So
Absolutely.
you said that. I love to live by that. I love to teach that. I go speak at schools sometimes about business and how I found myself in logistics, and I always end by giving the students advice. And I'll say that, like, those who ask for more get more. And I'm like, sorry to your parents, but here's an early negotiation lesson.
I love
And
that.
my boys are really good at that one. So
Yeah,
there you
mine
go.
are too. Ask and you shall receive. They remind me of that constantly. Um, so
That's great.
you mentioned that you love the small parcel, the small package aspect. So
Yeah.
that would be my question to you. What do you love most about your job? You get to do so many fun things. That you travel, you get to see new places, you get to meet new people, develop relationships. I mean, do you have a favorite part of your job?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the people component, hands
Oh,
down.
yeah.
I think I also joke, our president loves when I say this. He thinks it's funny. But I get paid to make friends. And
I love
that,
that. You get paid to
isn't
make
that
friends.
fun? Yeah.
Yes.
I learned this from someone else in the space too, who also is an alliance manager, like head of partnerships in tech, a wonderful guy. I met him like my first week on the job at a show, and we went out to dinner, and he told me that. He's like, if you just remember that at the end of the day, we get paid to make friends. I mean, it's the coolest job in the world. And I try to encompass that all the time. And the making friends piece is so wonderful for me because I truly love people, and building authentic relationships is a big deal to me. But the other piece that's really cool about my job that has to go with the people is not everything works to work together, right? We're not always going to have synergies with another business. We're not always going to be able to help people, or vice versa. And that's okay.
Mhm.
But just meeting so many people in this space and knowing what they do. And if I can connect them with someone else and help those businesses work together,
Mhm.
or I can help forge other relationships that are beneficial to the people within them, that to me is a win also. So I love that. Like, get paid to make friends. And if I can't be your friend right now, I'll help you make other friends, and maybe that'll help your business. So I just love the people component. That is hands down my favorite part.
I
Hands down.
agree. And being at those conventions and meeting people in person, developing the relationships, you never know who you're going to be able to connect someone to down the line. And
Right.
to me,
Right.
I love doing that. Just if I'm not able to serve you, I might know someone else who can. Maybe we're not the exact right fit,
Absolutely.
but there's
Right.
enough business, there are enough companies, there's enough specialties, like I'm in the MSP, the cybersecurity world. We
Mm-hmm.
specialize in trucking and logistics, and so you know there are other people out there that will refer business to me because this is our specialty. This is what we do best. But there are other industries that I might refer out, or other size businesses. Maybe you're a little smaller, maybe you're a little larger. My ideal
Oh,
client is
correct.
a mid-sized trucking company. So I have
Yeah.
other MSP partners that I'll, refer other business down to. And I think it all goes back to something you said, which was about the mindset. How do we think about our jobs? Getting paid to make friends is such a great mindset. And when you have that attitude of gratitude all the time, and you're just constantly looking
Oh,
at
I love
something
that.
with that positive attitude, I just
Yeah,
think it
I love
makes
that.
your job, it makes your life, it just makes you as a person. Your whole experience on this earth is completely different when you have that mindset. So like you just radiate positivity. I just
Oh,
absolutely love
okay.
your energy. It's so great. Um
Oh, thank you. I love the attitude of gratitude. Thank you for saying that. I got to remember
yeah.
that sometimes as well. And sometimes we all need reminders. It's not always sunshine. Not every day is perfect. There are days that are overwhelming. I
Right.
definitely needed to take a step back yesterday from a few things and collect myself, right? These things
Yeah.
happen. It's life. But to your point, leading in with that attitude of gratitude, or when things get frustrating, I just need to say to myself, at the end of the day, I get paid to make friends. At
That's
the end of the
right.
day, I get paid to make friends.
Yes.
Everything else is a bonus. So like, just at the end of the day, that's what I'm doing. So
Yeah. A little
great
reframe.
reminder.
And I think
Yeah,
that's why it's
that's
so
right.
important that we connect like you and I have connected, and we've connected with
Yeah.
Danielle. She's another just really positive person, because
Mhm.
we do support each other. We do encourage each other. We do remind each other of these
Yes.
things, and we can keep each other going. We've created this, girls in logistics, just this group of women who are, kind of linking arms and supporting one
Mhm.
another and elevating each other.
So
And
much cheering, right?
yeah,
Like just the the support and the cheering and the advocacy that
yes,
goes along with it, and not competition. It's
that's
cheering,
right.
not competition. And I love it. I
100%,
love
I
it.
do too. Was there ever a moment where you thought, "Maybe I don't belong here," but you pushed through anyways?
Ooh. Every day? No, I'm just kidding.
I know certainly for me in cybersecurity, I have imposter syndrome a lot. I spent 24 years in insurance, and here I am in cybersecurity, and there's a lot of times and I'm speaking on stages, I'm like, "Who," and I have a podcast. I'm like, who do you think you are to be here?" And so, I do push through and I do learn, but you know what? I have spent the past 3 years learning. You mentioned earlier, it takes 18 minutes a day to if you're learning
Yeah.
something, to become a
Mastery.
master at it.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
mastering that subject. And I'll tell you what, I've dedicated myself to this and I have things to learn and I have things to teach and I have things that I know that I know that I know can help businesses and help our industry and help individual, companies
Absolutely.
and people. I know this. And so but I do have those moments where I'm like,
Mhm.
"Girl, who do you think you are talking to these industry veterans who've literally lived their whole life here?" So I think it's something
Yeah,
the imposter syndrome is something that we all have to push through. So I just wondered what your
for
take was on
sure.
that.
I think that's so interesting. I think for me, I wanna answer that by saying I wanna surround myself with people that are gonna know more. And so
Yes.
if I feel like I don't belong, or if I'm having like, those doubtful moments, it's okay, who can I learn from?
Mm.
Um, and surrounding myself with just the smart people. We have such great tenure at ProShip, and oh my gosh, like our entire sales team is so good, and our sales leaders and our presidents and our marketing teams and like our engineers. I'm not going to pretend like I know how to code anything. I'm not going to pretend like I can even talk about what it means to do a carrier engine revamp. Like, I can say the words.
Yeah.
I kind of know the steps. I know where to find information, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm the brains behind getting that done. And I think that's okay. And it's okay to admit I'm not the expert here, but let's get the expert involved so we're doing the right thing by the customer, right? We're doing the right thing by the carrier. So for me, it's like just surrounding myself with people that are smarter than me. And to answer your previous question, if I've ever had moments where I feel like I don't belong, it's usually because of the environment. Like
Ah.
I've often, not often, I had one experience that was not a great experience when I was trying to get some expand my depth and breadth. Um, and did more of a consultation experience with a company outside of my town, and it was the culture. Like the culture just was not a fit. I knew it right away. I was like, oop, this was a mistake. And how I fixed it, or how we fixed it, is we just separated ways. And that's okay too. And I also think, like, if you're going to fail, fail fast. And when I, went to help out that company, I realized I'm not going to be here for a long time. And they knew it and I knew it. And it was okay to just have that honest conversation of, this isn't working for either side. We're not the right fit together. I would rather fail fast than be there for, year plus and be miserable. So that was a while ago. So that's a big thing that I look at as well, is culture. And am I going to fit? Do we have the same mission when it comes to culture and how we treat others and people? So that's a big thing. Getting in the right room, not being the smartest one in the room, but how does the temperature feel in that room? Make sure
Yeah.
it's a good for you. So,
I'll add to your fail fast, fail forward.
oh
We're
yes,
always learning
love
something. And,
that.
going
Mhm.
back to what you said, you were bold, you tried something new, you decided it wasn't for you, you continued to move forward, you failed fast and you failed forward and you learned something and you ended up in a better place. You landed in a better spot because you weren't,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you weren't scared to stay there and think, I need to stay here. This is I have to see it
Right.
through. You continue to
Right.
try new things, and I love that. I think that's so smart. KJ, we are going to wrap up this episode. We have so much more to talk about. Please, everyone, tune in to part 2 next week.
Can't wait.